Hey guys, before we get started, we just want to say thank you to Nanlite for sending us the LitoLite 5C for review. As usual, we're not paid to say anything besides our own opinions, and Nanlite does not get to see this video before it is published. Alright, let's get straight to the point. This is the Nanlite LitoLite 5C. I found the name really funny because it's like literally a really little light. So this is the LitoLite 5C, that's a box, and this is what you get inside the box. You get a really nice pouch. As usual, a lot of pocket-sized video lights or photo lights, they do have a pouch now, and this is one of the nicer ones. You have a little clip at the back where you can just clip your light, the pouch onto your bag. And this is the light. This is how it looks like at the front. So you can actually see the LED dots on this LitoLite 5C from Nanlite, and it comes with a carbon fiber-ish kind of back panel, which is really nice. And the size is really small as well. I would say it's a little bit smaller than an iPhone, like a little bit shorter. And of course, it's much thicker, but this is really light. The entire light, it's made out of plastic, and I don't know if the back panel is actual carbon fiber, but it is not heavy at all. That's why you want to carry these lights around, because they're not heavy. Let's take a look at the accessories that come with the light. So when you purchase the light, you have 3 accessories besides the pouch. You have a cold shoe adapter. I don't know if you can see it. I'm pretty sure I'll put a close-up of this thing. It's a cold shoe to the 1/4-20 mount at the bottom of the light, so you can mount your light to any cold shoe off camera, or if you have a cage, you can mount it on the cold shoe of the cage. So that's really nice. This is an adapter. Not all the lights will come with an adapter like this, so this is a very nice gesture of Nanlite. And a USB-C cable for you to charge the LitoLite 5C. And this is a braided USB-C cable. So this is a really nice quality USB-C cable. And the last accessory you get is a diffuser or diffusing cover for you to diffuse the light coming out of the LitoLite 5C, because the direct light coming out of this light is way too harsh for you to use for a lot of scenario. Basically, I usually don't use these lights just by itself unless it's like a hair light that I use on top of someone's head. I usually will put a diffuser on. So it's really simple. This one is a rubber kind of silicone kind of cover. You just put it on at the front of the light. This one is a little bit trickier compared to other diffuser that I have seen or have used on other pocket-sized video light. It wraps just on the edge. It's not like wrapping the entire light. I wish you can wrap onto the entire light, because as you can see, it kind of doubled the thickness of the light after putting on the diffuser. So it's just on the edge of the light. Let's try to power on the light, and I'll show you guys the feature. We just talked about the 1/4-20 inch mount at the bottom, right? That's the only 1/4-20 mount of this light. Some pocket lights, they have a 1/4-20 on the side as well, but I don't think it's a big deal. Just one is enough usually. And there's a power button at the top, also a USB-C charging port. This one does not support reverse charging, so you cannot use the pocket light to charge some other devices. To turn it on, you just press and hold this button right here, and you'll see the Nanlite logo. And this LED display is really bright, and it is tiny, but it is definitely bright enough for you to see what's happening on the light. And you have all the controls on the side right there. The buttons are not the clickiest button in this world. Not the most clickiest, definitely, but they are okay. The top button right there is for you to switch mode. So let me turn on the light. A good thing about these Nanlite pocket size or any video light from Nanlite is you can actually turn on the light at 1%. A lot of video lights, including pocket lights, they only allow you to turn on the light when it's at like 5% or 10% of power, but this one allows you to go as low as 1%. So that is really, really, really nice. And because this one is an RGB light and also bicolor, this light will let you go from a really low color temperature to a very high cool color temperature, and also of course the HSI color spectrum, the 360 color spectrum, so you can choose any light from basically the rainbow color. And one thing I noticed is, although you can set the light to 1%, this is now should be at 5600 Kelvin, which is daylight balance, but it's really warm. It doesn't get to daylight balance until you're up to about 10%, because they're using the tungsten and the daylight LED bulbs inside to mix to come up with the 5600 Kelvin. So if you are lower than 10%, it turns into a tungsten color. So that's one drawback, but I don't think you use it under 10% anyway, because it's super dim if you're doing that. So you can go all the way up to 100%, and it's really bright actually. And it's much softer if you're using the diffuser. If you take the diffuser out, it's gonna be super harsh. So let me turn down the power. And then you have a switch button at the bottom, which allows you to go to the second item on the menu. Whoops, I don't know if you can see it. So if I press that, it will go to the second item. The second item of the first mode, which is a CCT mode, and that's the most commonly used mode for video light. The first item that you can adjust is the brightness. The second one is the color temperature. So if you go lower, you can make it a tungsten as low as 2700 Kelvin. That's the lowest you can go. And the highest you can go when it comes to color temperature is 7500 Kelvin. And that's a really good range. A lot of video lights, sometimes they only go up to, let's say, 6000 Kelvin. And it's really hard to match light if you have a really small range. But this one goes from 2700 Kelvin to 7500 Kelvin, which is really nice. And another really, really nice thing of these modern video light or pocket light is you have the ability to change the tint, the green and magenta tint of the light. So let's say if your camera has a bias of green, like whatever you shoot, it's like green. You can change the light to have a more magenta tint to balance that out, instead of going into post and try to adjust the color in post. It's really painful. So the third item of the menu in CCT mode is the green and magenta hill. So this is a really good function. I think all the video lights should have this, because you never know what camera you'll be using if you're renting especially, and it will be really difficult for you to basically white balance the image, especially if you're not shooting raw. So that's one thing I really like about this light. All right. And of course you have different modes, because this is a RGB and bicolor light, so you have different modes. If you click onto the mode button at the top right there, you have a blue light right now, because this is the HSI mode or the RGB mode, where you can choose any color from the basic 360-degree color spectrum. So the first item on the menu, of course, is the brightness. If you press onto the switch button, you have the ability to go any color within the color spectrum. So as you can see, I'm basically going through all the colors within the color spectrum. And the next item on the menu inside HSI mode is a saturation. So let's say if I have, let me make a more obvious color. Let's say I have this blue color here and I think it's too saturated, the color is too vibrant. I can actually turn it down until it's sort of like in the daylight kind of color. And of course, 100% will be the most saturated. These are the basic color options when it comes to RGB video lights these days, which is nice. So those are the three options within the menu of the HSI mode. And the third one is the effect mode. As you can see, once I'm in this mode, the mode or the special effect I am having is called hue loop. So it's rotating between the colors. And if you click on to the switch button, you have the ability to change the brightness, of course, and you'll see that there is a little downward icon or an arrow pointing downward. If you click onto the switch mode button again, you will go into more options. So basically that's a second page, and you have the ability to choose the settings of the effect mode, which is nice because a lot of video lights, even if they have built-in effects, they don't allow you to change the settings, which is, you might be stuck with like a really boring or similar pattern every time when you use the special effect mode. But these lights from Nanlite, they do allow you to change the pattern or the settings of the hue, or not the hue, the special effect. And of course, you can change the speed, you can make it faster, you can make it smaller, so this is faster, and you can go slower. And in terms of special effects, they do have a lot of special effects. You have hue loop, CCT loop, I don't know what that is, CCT flash. You have a lot of options, especially when you want to mimic, let's say, a TV reflection or the TV reflected light on someone's face when you're filming. Then they have TV mode or fire mode or bad bulb mode. So these are the special effects. It's really handy, but I just don't use it that often myself, but it's there and they have a lot of modes. And then the last item of the mode menu is the menu. Basically, this one doesn't really allow you to do anything. It allows you to change the language of this interface. So if you're if it's easier for you to read another language, they have multiple languages that you can choose from. And of course, they will tell you the version of the firmware of these lights. These lights nowadays, you can use the USB-C port to update the firmware, which is really nice. So they can add in more features in the future. So let me go back to the CCT mode. Like, these are the basic features of the Nanlite LitoLite 5C. I really like this light because it's light, and again, like, it doesn't have to be super rugged, because like, as long as you don't throw them around, I don't think you need them to be super rugged. And if you want them to be super rugged, usually the cost will just go up like really significantly. So I would rather have a budget quality when it comes to build quality. This is made out of plastic, so, and I don't think the light is waterproof or water resistant, because there are a lot of like holes here for the light to get rid of the heat that is building up within the light. So that's, oh, another thing that I just did. This is something that I really like about Nanlite's product. Whenever you click the power button once, not press and hold to turn off the entire light, but when the light is on, you click it once, the light is still running, but then the light will be off. So you can quickly set the settings, place the light somewhere. When you are actually filming, you can just click the power button once and it will go into that mode. So that's what I really like about this. And there's one hidden feature on this LitoLite 5C that I did not expect by just looking at it, because I couldn't see it. There are actually magnets in the back panel. So there are two magnets in the back panel, and they are really strong. They are not directly on the sides. They're actually diagonally located at the back of the light. So if you want to stick this light onto any metal surface, it will be very handy and easy. And this is a really good feature, an important feature, especially for these pocket lights, because I've used the magnet on these lights all the time, and they are very handy, because like sometimes you just don't have anything to tie these lights, especially when they're so small, and like the magnet is definitely strong enough to hold on to the light. So that's another feature that I really like about the LitoLite 5C. So the next part of the video will be us using the LitoLite 5C and the X-Rite color checker for video to test out the quality of the light coming out of this light at 5600 Kelvin. We'll be testing it to see if the color is actually accurate at 5600 Kelvin. If you don't mind about color accuracy, you can use the timestamp to jump to a different part of this video or even the conclusion of this video, but let's get into the color accuracy test. Alright, so let's take a look at the color accuracy of the Nanlite LitoLite 5C using the X-Rite color checker for video. Let's try to isolate this white strip first to check and see if the white balance is good on this light. By looking at the RGB parade, the white balance is actually pretty off. The red channel is super hot and the green is still higher than the blue channel. So everything is shifted towards the red. So you can probably kind of see here, but we might have to fix it because everything else must be shifted because of that. The next isolation I'm going to do is to isolate this color palette right here to see if all the color channels are accurate, what I'm going to do is to boost up the saturation of everything so you guys can see a little bit better on the vector scope. On the vector scope, of course, the red channel, it's pretty accurate because everything was shifted to the red channel, so it's not gonna affect the red channel that much. But if you look at the magenta, it's off towards the red. The blue is a little bit higher, so again, it's affected by the red channel. And cyan, it's okay, but green, it's off, yellow, it's off. Everything is shifted upwards toward the red channel, so that's not a good sign. What I'm going to do next is to show you guys the skin tone color accuracy. I'm going to isolate the skin tone palette right here. And surprisingly, the skin tone is not bad because red is part of the skin tone color, so the red shift, it's not affecting the skin tone that much. Maybe you'll have a little bit more red in the skin tone if you use this light directly without editing or without adjusting the color. So what I'm gonna do right now is to go back to the first white strip and see if we can fix the white balance. So what I need to do is to make it a lot cooler and change up the tint. Ooh, that's a lot of adjustment. Lower that. I think that's what I can do right now to balance the color. It's still off. It's not the best thing because you're doing a lot of adjustment just to make the color balance in terms of the white color. And this is before, this is after. And if we take a look at the color palette, it's a little bit better now. Everything is a little bit better, but you still need to do a lot of tweaking to make everything look accurate. And skin tone, it's still not bad because all we did was shifting this center point downwards towards the blue and the green area. So the skin tone is not going to be affected that much. But overall, I'm actually pretty surprised that the color accuracy of the LitoLite 5C is not that good. So definitely don't use it as a key light or anything that is important in the scene. Maybe use it as a practical light, use the HSI mode for practical light use, or use it as a hair light. That shouldn't be too big of a problem, but definitely try not to use it as a key light. That's it. Those are my thoughts on the Nanlite LitoLite 5C Pocket Video Light. I really like this light because this is a pocket-sized light that I can just throw it in my bag and I can carry it around because it is so light. This is really good when it comes to setting up the scene. You can use it as a practical light, and sometimes I can use it even as a hair light, but I will definitely not use this directly as a key light because it's going to be super harsh. It's not going to be soft or flattering, so don't do that. Even with the diffuser, it's not going to help if you want to use this light as a key light. One option is to bounce this light off of a bigger surface, let's say a wall, a white wall, and it will just give you a better, softer light after the bounce. But this light is going to be way too small and it's not going to be powerful enough to use as a key light, not like a dedicated like video light that I'm using right now. So try not to use this as a key light, but you can definitely use this as a practical or a hair light. I can show you guys like right now how I use it as a hair light. You just put it up like this. Yeah, that's it. And I really like Nanlite's products, and definitely check them out and let us know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.